It was meant to be a saviour to the building and construction industry, but there are now fears that the stimulus packages brought out to combat the global financial crisis have in some cases done more harm than good, especially in South Australia. And as the world faces another wave of global financial uncertainty, some are predicting that up to 5,000 South Australian construction workers could be unemployed by Christmas in one sector alone. Paul Clarick has our story.
I've been doing it for 20 years and probably in the last, I would say, 12 months, for me, I've really noticed that it's quietened down.
Everyone usually asks if there's any work that you know of or anything like that. I think everyone's just searching for work as much as they can pick up.
South Australia's jobless rate increased last month by 0.2% to 5.3%, the second highest in the nation. But the local building industry believes the worst is yet to come, now that the multi-billion-dollar global financial crisis stimulus packages have been and gone.
I know a few blokes have been sitting at home for a while and just ringing around everywhere trying to find work, but yeah, struggling to pay the bills a bit.
I know lots of, different trades, whether it be brickies or whatever, but we're all in the same category, you know what I mean? We're all looking for work generally.
The stimulus involved first home buyer initiatives worth $1.5 billion.
I stand in front of you, I take the force of the blow.
That's just the school building down there. This package of measures is designed to support up to 90,000 jobs.
The stimulus measures ran out midway through last year, and now the local housing industry too is running out of puff.
Volumes of sales are down, depending on which estimate you want to use, somewhere between 16 and 21%. So that's a big volume to be down.
The proportion of first home buyers has halved since the stimulus measures ran out.
It hit a peak of about 30%, and since that's come off, we're probably down around 14, 15%. So in its heyday, 1 in 3 purchases were first-home buyers, and now it's really dropped significantly.
That drop-off is being felt on building sites where work on new homes is drying up.
I've actually downsized. I've probably over the last few months, there's 4 people that I've had to let go.
So you have one right on this end?
And like many throughout the entire economy, those who are employed are feeling nervous.
You just wouldn't purchase anything. I wouldn't anyway at this point in time, because it's just so uncertain. You don't know what happened like 2 or 3 months' time. It could be worse than what it is now, but it's anywhere, not just the building industry. Like, people are just holding on to their money, I think, and just because we don't know what's going on.
The state government will also be feeling the pinch. The housing industry estimates that it accounts for about 40% of state revenue.
The housing sector contributes an unfair proportion also towards state revenue through GST, through stamp duty and through land tax. So a slowing in that sector has a compound effect on the rest of the economy.
Before this year's state budget, the HIA asked for a reduction in stamp duty, which it says is the highest in Australia.
Well, we were saying that if you actually had a cut in stamp duty, not just for first home buyers but for all construction, that would be repaid in the fact that you would stimulate the building activity, and that the state government would get back whatever cuts that they had made there. That didn't happen. We didn't see a cut in stamp duty. In fact, we saw the reverse. We saw the withdrawal of the grant for first home buyers, the state grant for first home buyers. So it was really a negative for us so far as the budget was concerned.
But cracks aren't just appearing in housing. The civil construction industry employs about 15,000 people in South Australia. It says the government stimulus packages overheated the industry because of their 2-year time frame, and that the artificial boom is now leading to a bust.
Those companies that had to invest in more equipment and more plant to build the stimulus projects within the time frame don't have use for that equipment, and have to pay that equipment off still, so they're in a difficult situation.
It's feared that up to 1/3 of the workforce may soon be redundant.
Some of those have service of over 25 years, so they're long-term employees that have now been laid off. And we estimate that if something isn't done to address the situation, that between 3,000 and 5,000 people will be made redundant just in the civil construction industry between now and Christmas.
The Civil Construction Federation says entire family companies employing less than 200 people are at risk, and it's calling for a post-stimulus stimulus.
We need some minor works, major intersection upgrades, road maintenance projects. There's a vast number of maintenance projects that need to be undertaken in South Australia, and we need some support from the federal government and the state government to get those projects rolled out quickly.
Those views have been put to the state and federal governments. But the Builders Union is wary about more stimulus packages because it says government debt is at the root of the financial woes engulfing Europe and the United States. It says there is work around and on the horizon, such as the South Road Superway, the Royal Adelaide Hospital, the Adelaide Oval redevelopment and the Roxby Downs expansion.
It's large stuff though, and a lot of the smaller companies can't or aren't tendering for it because it's a bit too big for them. And I suppose that's one of the problems in South Australia, that there will be other people brought in, not just from other states but from overseas and with different companies, but that's what has to happen if you're going to develop things.
And while the CFMEU believes that private investment in the state is needed, whether it arrives will largely depend on what plays out on international stock markets over coming months and years.
Capitalism's an interesting beast. It doesn't just keep going up, it also goes down very rapidly, and there's no planning, and the end result is regularly, under the capitalist system, is a disaster for some and great riches for others, unfortunately.
Paul Clarick with that story.